We're going to get our teeth fixed. We've already had breakfast. Now we're silently rolling over, without bumping the coffee. Finally, we have our dentist appointments. And I'm gonna get my tooth that's cracked fixed. Maintenance is essential to keep things running smoothly. Owning and living on a sailboat offers a daily reminder of this fact, with boat projects, repairs, and daily chores quickly piling up if you don't keep on top of everything. People maintenance is just as necessary. We were both due for a teeth cleaning and I had a crown that needed replacing. A dentist recommendation from Terry and Jeannie proved to be just what we were looking for. With a second appointment scheduled to replace the cracked crown, we quickly returned to our projects. The outboard engine had been out of commission since Beaufort, North Carolina, and I finally found myself with some time to see if I could diagnose the issue. No power at all, and a bad bog down at anything above quarter throttle. I checked compression in each cylinder, hoping to find that they were both the same value, which they were. This told me that the engine was worth working on. I took the propeller off and found some fishing line wrapped around the shaft, but nothing suspicious otherwise. I then did something that I hadn't done yet. I removed both ignition coil packs to inspect them. Sure enough, one of them had a cracked housing and was arcing to the engine block, as evidenced by the black marks around the crack. The outboard was running on one cylinder. I saw a healthy spark on both spark plugs every time I tested, but while the engine was running and the spark was stronger, it would arc out of the coil pack, grounding to the engine block. A quick look around eBay and a new one was on the way. Terry and Jeannie have a Niagara 35 here in Delray, and the fridge was working only part of the time, so I told them I'd take a look at it. I suspected a bad control box, but from my experience, intermittent issues can be tough to diagnose. I meticulously ruled out anything else it could be by going over the entire system. I found some corroded connections, checked the thermostat operation, cleaned the condenser coil, and I decided that it was not the refrigerant charge after observing it running when it did start up at one point. I ultimately deemed the control box as faulty, and a few days later I had a new one that you are watching me install. And let's open up the fridge, turn it up until it comes on. There's the click. Okay, compressor came on really smoothly first time. It was doing a bump and then it would stop. It'd go and then stop. Not like it was stuck, but the compressor would actually start up and then stop after about a second. And then maybe a minute later it might try again randomly, and then maybe it would stay on that time. And that's what the old controller was doing. So this smooth startup is a good sign. I'm gonna set this to where he had it, about in the middle. Terry tells me it's been working flawlessly ever since. Hey everyone, I'm Parker.
And I'm Katie.
And this is our boat, Seawind. I bought Seawind in 2016 with my entire savings and no clue what it would take to turn her into what she is today. With the help of my dad and a few friends, I slowly tackled project after project, transforming this old boat into what I envisioned when we first met. Halfway through this 5.5-year project, I met Katie, and we've been inseparable ever since. In truth, this only shows a fraction of what it really took in order to get to where we're at today, in a beautiful Anchorage, making this video.
Together, we have come a long way. We have learned the beautiful and brutal lessons that the water has to offer. We have come to know heartache and loss and to dance despite it all. I work a full-time job on the go, which presents its own unique challenges and opportunities. But at the end of the day, it's our desire to move slowly and live fully that makes it all worth it.
Sailing Seawind is our unique attempt at showing how we choose to live with a lighter carbon footprint, how we plan to make our mark on this ever-changing world. It's a place for us to show that every one of us is connected, and that we will all go further together. Okay, today is a big day. Our dinghy, hopefully by the end of this day, will have its motor back. I got the new coil pack in the mail, and so we are going to put it back in. And we are going to have a dinghy engine again. I have confidence. All right, we got everything back together. It's working! I fixed it! Woo! Oh, it's purring. Oh, listen to that. Wow.
What's going on, Parker?
We're about to motor somewhere.
Wow.
Alright, everything's good.
Wow,
Oh,
one
listen
pull.
to that.
Boom, boom. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Set.
Oh my gosh. So we just came across a Portuguese man-o-war. There's so many of them on the beach right now. These things can potentially kill you. Yeah. You look very majestic. Everything looks good. Okay, now, really? Can you hold this for a sec?
So close, yet so far away.
I gotta adjust the idle.
And we stick the landing.
Alright.
Found you.
It's our first time setting up the hammock. Happy New Year! What'd you bring for us?
Pineapple chili with a hint of ginger hard kombuchas.
Wow.
They're called Flying Ember. They're
Let me see.
all organic.
Cheers! Happy New Year!
We spent many moments during this time reflecting about our travels so far, preparing for journeys in the not-too-distant future, and sharing what was on our hearts and minds. We were both feeling nerves with travels to a new country on the horizon, but for different reasons. I was anxious about the ability to stay connected and do my job, and Parker was anxious about properly preparing the boat, completing projects, and stocking up on stores. We handled each spell of anxious energy the way we know how, talking it through and taking action, one item at a time. We could only prepare to the best of our abilities, and the rest was out of our hands.
Alright, so Katie, we are going snorkeling for our first time tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've been reading up on animals and specifically the Blue Heron Bridge, which is a national park.
Creatures that we'll most likely see. I wanted to know what the proper etiquette is for swimming with a stingray, because they have a barb, and so everyone talks about stingrays, how they can sting you, but like, is it deadly? Because Steve Irwin died, and how did he die, and stuff like that. So one thing about the stingray is that it has a stinger and in its tail, and it will shoot it, right? Like, it almost like throws it. So think of the stingray being like this, and its tail like coming up like that, and it shoots it.
So forward, like almost like out
propels
of
it.
where its face is, like
Yeah,
out
wherever
forward.
it's trying to hit,
Yeah.
you know, or up, you know, if the person is, or something is above them or whatever. And so it has venom on it, which actually kills the cells around it. The venom can kill the cells, and it's also a painful venom. And the actual stinger is like a sharp, hard, like barb. And so it goes in smooth, but you're not, if you get stung, people want to go to pull it out and they say you just leave it in there until you get medical help, because there's barbs that open up once it's in the flesh.
Well, that sounds just absolutely inviting.
But stingrays are very docile creatures, and they're not aggressive or anything like that. And even when they feel threatened, they're most likely to swim away than actually throw their stinger. So things you should keep in mind is that you shouldn't swim above them, you shouldn't hover above them and make them feel trapped. That's also directly where they can throw the stinger. You should stay either kind of behind them, floating, or watching them from behind, letting them swim forward, or from the side. And if you're with your diving partner, you shouldn't like circle around them, you should stay like parallel to them. And as long as they have a way to swim forward, they're usually fine.
So you've been reading about all this stuff. This is our first time diving ever around ocean life. And you and I have been talking about it a lot since we, bought our gear. And now here is our first chance to go tomorrow. And we've kind of like been met with this fear or anticipation that is causing fear because of the unknown of something we've never done before. So talk about that a little bit.
Because I feel like we know just enough to scare us, or we know just what we've seen or heard on TV or whatever. So we know just enough that it sounds terrifying, but if you know a little bit more than that, you tend to feel better, because it's usually a bit more complicated than just the surface amount of information that you know. And then also, why I'm reading about what to do when you see like stingray etiquette, I'd like to put it, because the worst thing you could do is do something that you shouldn't be doing and then you get hurt doing it. And it's like, oh, that was really stupid. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. And I think the worst thing you could do is like if you saw a shark and it was just like, say, a reef shark or a nurse shark or something like that, and instead of being like curious and being able to explore it, you end up just panicking in the water because you don't know what to do. So I think if you just like know what to do, then you generally can go in it with a bit more comfort and confidence, even if you're still nervous.
Cool.
Let me read about that.
Okay. just got done snorkeling. Katie just told me afterwards that she thinks she got bit by a bug.
I have a bug.
You have a bug.
It's a diving bug.
It's the diving bug, yeah. The anticipation was much worse than... Yeah, the anticipation was killing you. And then when we got in there, you were so comfortable. Our gear is working out.
Our wetsuits.
We love our wetsuits.
All the like angelfish were around us and the beautiful, and they were literally, we were in like a swarm of them, just chilling. I just like put out my little hand because I saw its little face, and it was like, and I was like, come to me, little fish.
And now Katie is a fish. All right. Another brilliant dinner on board. Big piece of salmon off the grill. Mixed veggies, radishes, green beans, carrots, potatoes. So today I'm going to be reprogramming our Balmar alternator regulator. When I installed the thing, I originally set it up for lithium batteries. I reprogrammed the alternator a while ago to limit the maximum charging output. We don't need the full 75 amps that this thing can put out, and so I limited it at about 55 amps. But the trouble is the rest of my settings for some reason got deleted. And one of those settings included a charge delay. That way it can warm up for a minute before the charging actually starts.
One eternity later.
All right, I think we got it. I'm about to turn this ringing off now. Today we're going to be installing a radar reflector. This is a Mowbray. Seemed like a good brand and it was on sale on Defender, so we got it. So I'm going to go up to the top of the mast, and I have my satchel with a couple of tools and some zip ties and some seizing wire and the climbing harness, and we're going to, Katie's going to hoist me up. It's always an interesting experience up here. Yep. All right. Good job. Thank you. With the radar reflector installed and another item checked off our list, we went out for a nice bite to eat and then zoomed off to rendezvous with Terry and Jeannie for something that we had been looking forward to since hearing about it. The Wakodahatchee Wetlands sits on 50 acres in Delray and was constructed in 1996. It was originally land that housed a wastewater utility property. The conversion to a wetland was a new technique to return millions of gallons of highly treated wastewater daily back into the environment. From what I read, the wetlands themselves acts as a final sort of filtering for the water. It seems as though the plants are thriving, and a perk of this rewilded area is that now over 178 bird species, along with turtles, alligators, rabbits, fish, and frogs, call this place home. They added an elevated walkway, and it's free to walk along and see what you can spot. I know a few of the species shown here, but if you're a bird watcher, let us know in the comments if you spot anything cool. So I got a call from the dentist and my crown came in early and they had an appointment opening at 2 o'clock today. So I'm in the rain. I forgot my rain jacket and I'm beelining it for the dentist appointment. So I'm walking over to Terry and Jeannie's apartment to get their car.
Look who's back. Tell him what you got.
I got a new tooth.
He has a new tooth. He's officially all
This one
done.
right here. Got it.
All done with the dental work.
It's just been bucketing down for a good portion of the day.